I am here with the French ambassador to Ghana, Anne-Sophie. Welcome to Metro News.
Thanks for having me, Shidra.
Before we delve deep into the conversation, I know you were born in Fontainebleau.
Yes.
Tell us more about your upbringing.
Actually, Fontainebleau, interestingly, is it's a nice city about like 100 kilometers from Paris. That's where the castle of François I was, and that's also the castle where Napoleon, when he left the office, said goodbye to his troops. So that's what the castle is known for. It's a beautiful city, but I didn't grow up there because we left when I was like 2.5. I grew up in Belgium, actually.
Wow.
And that was a very exciting era because it was the building of the European Community, 1970s, beginning of the 1970s. And there was this kind of very bubbly feel that we were building something new after 2 World Wars with our neighbors, the Germans. Suddenly we had decided to partner with them, and the atmosphere in Belgium was you had people from all over Europe. The first were the first 6 countries, but people from those member states were in Brussels, and they were working on building that. And that's what I grew up in, this sense of community, of international, many languages around me. In the school I was going in primary school, it was both French and Dutch.
Okay.
And so it was like, even on the playground, we were exchanging in many different languages. So that probably explains my taste for new things, different cultures, and this sort of curiosity. There were lots of diplomats at that time in these schools. I was in a French lycée then, where I tried to catch up with the French system. And so I had a very international, intercultural kind of upbringing.
Great. So talking about you trying to catch up with the French system, is it because you grew up in Belgium?
Yes.
Because is that to say you were not really accustomed to the French culture?
No, I left France. I was 5.5. I could barely read and write, and then I jumped into the Belgian system because my parents thought that when in Rome, do as the Romans. So we were in the Belgian system, and they thought that it was a great opportunity to learn Dutch. Not so many people speak Dutch, and Dutch is not a very widely spread international language. It's quite helpful in South Africa because it's very close to Afrikaner. But it's a language that is like that helps you learn English, German, all different other languages. But I was in the Belgian system until I was like 10.5, and then my parents decided that maybe we would go back to France, so I had to jump back into the French system.
But let's look at tertiary education, because usually that is where most people's interest in careers develop, and then you would want to say, okay, from this angle or from this point I would want to do something international relations. At what point, first let's look at your education. How did it go before you decided to work or choose a career path?
Actually, I didn't really choose a career path. I was a rather good student in senior high school. Then I went to a business school because my parents both were former students of business schools, so I was not very creative. I thought, well, I don't know what to do. I'll go to do an MBA and see what happens. I studied psychology, I studied law as well, so I was not very determined on what I should do. I loved languages, but as a mean, not as something I could do a business out of, like an interpreter or something. So I had absolutely no idea what I wanted to do, and I wanted to keep all the options opened, and that's how I ended up studying commerce and business. And then I just grasped opportunities wherever they were in front of me. I was just very lucky for the rest of my career, joining a vocational training company in the very beginning, at the moment when in France vocational training became compulsory in the company. So suddenly companies had a budget and they had to spend it to provide vocational training or coaching or just training in computers or any sort of training. They had to dedicate a percentage of their budget to vocational training. So, and I had joined a company that was providing vocational training. So then I joined a multimedia company at the beginning of the internet blooming. So again, just luck, or maybe, I don't know, I had sensed that there was something to be done in this area. And then I joined the public service through a fast track for senior civil servant that is called the ENA, the École Nationale d'Administration. That was a competition, an exam. I took it, passed it, joined the Ministry of Transport. I wanted to do something international, so I joined the Ministry of Transport in an office that was dealing with international relations. So it was about negotiating in multilateral circles like the IMO, negotiating the international regulations that would eventually apply to us, or in the European Union, the maritime law or transport laws.
So that was where the interest in international politics or relations was really developed.
I really was interested in international policy all my life, but I don't know, it was, you know, I didn't say I want to do this and I went for it. I mean, I'm not a good example and certainly not a good model for the youth, because obviously the right advice would be to say, make your decision, have a career and objective in mind, and go for it. I had no idea. All my life, I've only known that I wanted to do something that was exciting, that was different, where I could do, that was not stuck in just one area. And then I was dragged into human resources for quite a long time. I was Director General for the French ship owners. At the beginning it was about international discussion because shipping is a very international industry. But the main issues I faced were unions and social matters. So I was dragged into social and human resources. Then I joined the Ministry of Defense as a social advisor. Then I was Human Resources Director. And I thought, gosh, I'm going to be human resources for the rest of my life. And I complained aloud. When I was awarded the Légion d'honneur, in my speech, I complained aloud, saying, well, I was dreaming of international relations and I was dragged into human resources. But eventually it's the same. You have to be a bit of a diplomat. You have to be patient. It's about negotiation. So, well, so be it. I'll be in human resources. And someone in the crowd heard it. And after President Macron was elected, this person joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and thought that I might be interested in being an ambassador. And out of the blue in 2018, invited me for lunch and said, how about being an ambassador? And after I almost choked drinking my coffee.
Good. I wanted to find, I was just coming to that to find out, how did the news come to you? Because receiving the message
I just couldn't believe it. I said, why? I mean, how? Where? I mean, I was Human Resources Director for the Ministry of Defense, obviously nothing to do with diplomacy, apart from the fact that, yeah, dealing with the militaries, and when you have to run 280,000 people, you have to be patient, diplomat, find ways and means to bring things and news, and when you deal with social matters, it's even more sensitive. So maybe that actually makes your skills in this area a bit more accurate. But honestly, I would never have thought that anyone would have thought of me to go to diplomacy.
But in that, let's look at Ghana, because you've been in Belgium, let's say Europe, and Macron or President Macron will invite you, and then you'll be told you become the ambassador for Ghana or France to Ghana.
But you know what? Much as I was worried about being an ambassador, when they said Ghana, that made sense. It made sense to me.
How?
Because all my career, I was lucky enough to join a sector that was the first multimedia when it was the booming of internet, the vocational training when it was the booming of it. Joining Ghana, well, first of all, I love Africa, but Ghana in Africa, first country of sub-Saharan Africa to gain independence, and in a peaceful way. Most democratic, peaceful country in Africa. Most developed, one of the most developed and developing countries with a growth rate that was, wow, that makes most European countries very envious. And then also a will to develop beyond aid,
right,
to partner with the developing partners differently. And I thought, I want to work with these. I want to work with this country. Plus an Anglophone country. I wanted to be, that was really the cherry on the cake. I thought it would be nice to work in English on a daily basis. And it was really different from being in a Francophone country. You have their family. Do you see what I mean? It would not have been such a change.
Yeah.
We have strong links with these Francophone countries. We work with them on a daily basis. There was not so much to build. And the links with Ghana had always been friendly, but a bit shy. Do you see what I mean? There's many countries here partnering with Ghana who are more important or appear more important to Ghana than France. So there was a challenge here. How do I make a difference? How am I visible? How can I bring something and be visible and give a positive image of France in a country that, you know France, but not as well as UK, US, or so. I thought, how do I? There was a challenge there, and that's what I found really interesting. Plus, you had I can't say challenges, but there was something to be done with companies. Your country wants to develop macroeconomy through microeconomy, through companies, through entrepreneurship. And we want to partner that way. So I thought it was an amazing field of experiment to see, does that work? When you have a network of companies that is thriving, does that drag the whole economy up? And I thought that was very interesting to try.
We would come into that, but now you are in Ghana, obviously from 2018
yes,
to 2021. So you are more Ghanaian now. Let me get your general view of Ghana. Let's looking at it from governance.
As diplomats, we are abiding by the local rules, and we are working with any governments. Luckily, I've only known the government that is currently in place, and it was great pleasure that I work with them. But as diplomats, we work with any democratically elected government that is in place. And I have close links with the ministers, the government, with the president, the vice president, and of course I also talk to MPs of the opposition, because it's very important to keep a very intimate knowledge of how people feel. And if you only listen to the people in power, you have one side of the story. It's important to also hear from the people on the field, from the people from opposition, from the civil society, so I speak to literally everyone. I think that what is being built here in Ghana, that is institutions, strong legal frame, is the way to go, because institutions is what keep a country together, whoever actually runs it. Kofi Annan used to say that any strong countries needs strong institutions, and that is beyond who is politically in power, because it's like the democratically elected leaders are like the pilots of a car, but the car has to have the right mechanics, the right engine, the right fuel, and then you drive it one way or the other. But these institutions is what remains. And you already have a strong democracy, and you are building up institutions, and that is going to be, I think, the legacy of this government, the governments before. All that has been built since 1992, but actually even before. And that is what is going to remain, and that is what is going to make Ghana deeply enrooted. What I find also very interesting and actually very necessary is the openness onto regional integration. Ghana has commercial trade partnership with the rest of the world. There's a huge potential with your neighbors. This is not the biggest part of your trade that you do with your neighbors. And there's a huge, immense potential with your neighbors, right, with Côte d'Ivoire, with Togo, with Benin. And I think that the free trade zone is a superb opportunity for Ghana. But just as well, learning French, for instance, and making sure that you can trade with your direct neighbors, unless you want to trade through the sea, but I was told that the fish also speak French. So at the end of the day, you will have to learn French.
Yeah.
I think that could increase dramatically the trade in Ghana if you increase the trade among African countries.
Now, you mentioned trade. Let's look at language barrier. We've seen the introduction of the African Continental Free Trade Area, and then we have most of the countries surrounding us being francophone countries.
All of the countries surrounding us.
All of the countries. And then in our stead or our quest to do business or engage in trade with these people, like you said, we are open, but one thing that blocks us or hinders the progress is language barrier.
Yeah, well, several things. First of all, I don't think it's a barrier. I think it's an extra bridge you need to build, because you can also communicate with your direct neighbors through local languages. You share many local languages, many regional languages with your neighbors. The second thing is, because you speak many local languages as well as English, you're already polyglots. And we already speak many languages. Picking a new one is very easy. And picking up French is going to be a piece of cake for you because you already speak several languages. The third thing is Europe, 27 countries, almost 27 different languages. And we still built Europe. We built Europe with the Dutch, with the Germans, with, well, up to a point with the UK, but then no longer in, Spanish, Italian, the Greek. Can you think of more different languages than Romanian and Greek, Portuguese, Spanish? Each of these countries, members of the European Union, have different languages. Belgium has both French and Dutch. That's the only one that is actually a bit polyglot. But other countries, they have their own languages. Still, we managed to build Europe. So it's not a barrier, it's an opportunity. And the way we've done that is through programs like Erasmus, where young people were traveling to another European country to carry on their studies. It was through the recognition of certificates and diplomas. So whether you study medicine in France or in Germany, at the end of the day, your certificate, your degree is recognized in the other country. So pushing and facilitating those exchanges among students and young people, making sure that they learned other languages, also broadcasting TV channels in different languages. Slowly, people were picking up other languages.
So before we come to the students or schools learning the French language, still on the trade and then the language bit, from where you sit, how do you plan on leveraging on the African Continental Free Trade?
Learning a language, you need to feel the need for it. If you learn French, but then outside the classroom you've got no one to speak French to, you've got no incentive to speak French, no French TV to understand, no desire to have a grasp onto French literature, French movies, French radio, no curiosity, then out of the classroom, you will just close your notebook and it will be just an extra subject like math or science that you will actually learn just to get the good grade and get rid of it. So learning a language is different from learning another academic subject that you have to take because you have to get your grades and you have to do to pass your exams. It's learning a culture. And it's about making people feel like they want to communicate with you. If the reason why I'm trying to learn some Twi, it's because I want to speak to my staff in a language that speaks to their heart and not only to the brain. If you speak to someone in a language he understands, you speak to his brain. If you speak to someone in language he is native, then you speak to his heart. And you really, I really want to try and get through to people in a language that echoes positively, effectively. So making friends, having exchanges, having class twinning, having creating a desire for the French language as a bridge, and a bridge has to link two shores. So if you are on one shore and you say, yeah, learning French is building a bridge to nowhere, then it's no point. So I think that it's just like whatever you learn, you need to feel the need of it. Why do you learn how to write and read? Well, because you feel the need to see what's on the billboard. I want to read what's on the billboard. I want to be able to read the paper. Obviously, there's something happening. There's some sort of information I want to have a grasp on. So that's how you get motivated to learn how to read and write. But the same applies for languages.
But you were talking about students learning French in class, and then they are not able to advance in the French language. You just close your books, and then that is it. I remember, I think about a month or two ago, I was with the Lebanese ambassador and then the Mexican ambassador, where they
both speak very good French.
They speak very good French, and they awarded some students from Alliance Française who were excelling in the French language. But that is one bit, that is Alliance Française. What are you doing, your outfit doing with other schools? Because I graduated from the Ghana Institute of Journalism, and then we had to take French for the first 2 years. I loved French, but then it was just for 2 years. And then others also thought we wouldn't be giving so much attention like it's given to people from specialized schools like Alliance Française. So what is your outfit doing with such institutions to ensure that the French language and culture, for that matter, is imbibed in the students? They are able to carry it along.
Okay. French is just like anything. I can teach you how to swim, but if you don't dive in the water, you're never going to swim. So we are training teachers. We are supporting the French English bilingual schools in Ghana. So we're giving tools, equipment and things, but that's not enough. That is the basics without which you cannot get started. But at the end of the day, if you really want to speak French, you have to dive into a French environment. So Alliance Française, there's one in Kumasi, there's one in Accra, there's one in Tema, there's one in Sekondi Takoradi. So you can easily have contacts with French speakers. Do an exchange, go for 6 months to Côte d'Ivoire or to Togo. That's very, very close. I mean, you drive to Togo in 3 hours and you're there. You've got people speaking French. And if you want to survive there, you have to speak French. So dive into a French environment, and then you feel the need to. You know, in France, we're not that good at learning languages, because for a long time, to be allowed to teach French in a French school, you had to be French. So when you have an English teacher who is actually French, you learn the pidgin French accent that people find very sexy. I'm very sorry about that because I don't have it. But anyway, so we used to learn English in a very old-fashioned way, and no one actually realized that it was an actual language that people were speaking on a daily basis. We were learning, like, my tailor is rich, and you were like, what? At what point do I use this sentence in an everyday conversation? And my children were about the same. They were learning from books, and they were repeating, reciting, and I thought, So one day I sent my son to an English-speaking country to do a training as a, how do you call that? In Baywatch, the swimming monitor, swimming teacher, security guards, lifeguard on the beach. And so he had to take this exam, 2 weeks. And it was all in English. So he had no choice. Either he was listening to what the monitor was saying, to what the coach was saying, and he would understand it. Otherwise, he would have drowned. So in 2 weeks, he had learned perfect English. And it had clicked. And then he had found the path, and he felt like watching movies in original version, listening to English radio, you know, entertaining it and maintaining it.
So you think we don't make so much effort to get grounded in the French language?
It's not always an effort. I mean, I don't want to be critical. I think that if you really want to, and if you feel that you need to speak French, because when you're going to look for a job, you need French on your curriculum, and up to a point you might need French in your job, speaking French on the phone and all that, well then you have to train yourself and get ready. I mean, what is vocational training, what is school apart from making you ready for your job, making you ready to become a professional and to look for a job? Well, language is exactly the same. If you're studying mechanics and you just study it in books, I will not let you fix my car.
Sure, certainly.
I really want you to have a real experience.
Practical knowledge.
Practical knowledge, having been into an engine several times before you actually touch my car. Even if you want to study dog grooming, you have to learn it, because otherwise I won't let you my dog. So language is exactly the same. If you've only learned French from books, the moment you pick up a phone and the person on the other end is speaking French, you'll be completely lost.
Yeah.
Because what you read in French has nothing to do with the way you speak it.
But now let's move out of the schools and then look at those of us practicing. Say, I'm doing journalism, and then I would love to have foreknowledge or get so much understanding in French where I would be able to move out and then ask you how you are doing, get some few lines in French. What is your outfit having any special training or any special thing for journalists who are willing to learn the French language? Because we would want to, at a point...
You've studied 2 years, so your level is bound to be quite good.
Hopefully.
Right.
Maybe we'll test that one later.
We can test that. Well, there's so much resources available online. Tests, exercises, videos, all sorts of things that we have gathered that on the French Embassy's website. We have like a toolbox, you can find it on the French Embassy, which are links to many resources that you can find free and online to learn basic French or advanced French, depending on your level and what you're looking for, or the kind of themes that you want to look into. Then the best way to learn, again, is to listen and practice. You have RFI, the radio that you can catch and listen to. If you're a journalist, you're interested in what happens in the world. So if you listen to it in French, at the beginning you say, oh my God, I don't understand a word. And then slowly you will pick up, because eventually first names are always the same, then the names of countries, the names of cities, say, oh, they're talking about Afghanistan, they're talking about Côte d'Ivoire, they're talking about this or this. So you will prick up your ears, and at the end of the day you will pick up a few words. Oh, I had learned that at school, and then suddenly your brain has actually engraved it somewhere. Yeah. So just by practicing and listening, if you get a chance to watch Netflix or those platforms and have a movie, watch it in French with the subtitles, and then eventually you will say, oh, I understood.
I understand this.
Oh, I understood this. And that's how slowly you pick up. When you're a baby and when you start learning the very first language you listen to, you understand simple words, and then you just repeat, and that's how you learn language. Why would it be different for a foreign language?
Great. Let's move back to trade. The Ghana-French mutual relationship. What's in for Ghana?
Well, at the moment, you have a surplus in trade with France and Ghana. We are buying more from you than you are buying from us. And in 2020, I think your surplus in the France-Ghana trade was something around 200 million euros.
That is around 2020?
Yeah. And we've had a surplus, you have had a surplus in the trade with us for a long time. We have a bit less now, but it was up to 300 million a year. So what do you benefit? Well, actually, we buy more from you than you buy from us, to begin with.
Yeah, but there was this assertion, I stand to be corrected, but people were complaining that most of the French, especially with France, would want to do business with African countries or Ghana in the euro currency, and then when they would want to take or get remuneration, it comes back in cedis, and then people would have to convert so much to pay, and then it goes back to affect especially peasant farmers or small scale traders.
Well, the issue of currency, that's unfortunately you have your own currency, and you have this kind of ordeals. It's sometimes you trade in euros, sometimes you trade in dollars, sometimes you trade in cedis. It depends on the contract, it depends on the agreement that you have in terms of trade, and of course the strength balance between who's selling and who's buying. And it's true that, yes, when you have your own currency, you pay attention to that. The French-speaking countries and the former French colonies do have another currency, that's CFA. They have it's a bit more stable because France is guaranteeing it, but still people are complaining that France is keeping a strong commitment to keep that currency stable, and instead of being grateful, they are bashing us. So, you know, no one is ever happy. And at the very beginning, when the euro was created, it was €1 for $1.
Okay.
The moment euro is strong. So when the euro against the dollar is very strong, it is harder for us to export. And of course the imports are cheaper when you pay in dollars, but sometimes the dollar will be much more expensive, and then it's reversed. So I'm afraid that's the trend of market and liberalism in global markets.
But you mentioned that most French-speaking countries have almost the same currency, that is the CFA. Yeah, because I've been in Togo a couple of times, and then it looks like what is there is same as what's in Cote d'Ivoire. Mm-hmm. There's been another session, especially recently by Gitfik, saying most of the French-speaking countries, because of their currencies, are trying so much to sabotage the dream of Africa having one currency, because they feel they already have their currency and they are cool, and they would not want.
I love Africa because there's so many urban legends and fantasies. Some people believe that it's not the French-speaking countries that are how do you say?
Sabotaging? No.
Sabotaging the West African currency, but another country that is so big that it doesn't need any other countries to gather around a common currency. So everyone accuses everyone else. The people with the CFA believe that they want to get rid of the CFA and they would like a West African currency. Some are very happy with the CFA, and some, you know, I think it's an ECOWAS issue that they are addressing seriously. Having a joint currency, we have that in France with the euro. It doesn't come overnight, because the monetary policy, whether you will devaluate or dealing with inflation, when it is your own, it's a national policy. When you suddenly share your currency with other countries, like we do in Europe, decisions when it comes to monetary policy are made in Germany, in the European Bank. And some people may regret the time when we could play also on that leverage of monetary policy. So unfortunately, nothing's perfect. At the end of the day, the euro, as well as the European market, have brought wealth and peace and development to most European countries. So it is probably the way to go. But before you can move to a joint currency, you have to accept that then you will be linked to each other. And you have to have common economic criteria, aggregates. You have to have common economic policies. In Europe, when Greece faced terrible times, we had to help Greece. All the other countries had to gather their forces to help Greece, because otherwise, Greece having the same currency as ours, everyone would have dropped at the same time. So having the same currency, sharing the same currency, means that you are solidarily linked to other countries. So you have to trust that they have the same vision of economy and where they want economy to go.
Great. Let's narrow the conversation down to Fête Nationale.
Yes. So the Fête Nationale is the national day, and it's the 14th of July. Many people call it Bastille Day, referring to the anniversary of the take of the Bastille, which is a prison. And during the French Revolution, when the people marched onto Paris, they wanted to have weapons, and they knew that weapons were stored in La Bastille, and they also wanted to free the prisoners who they believed they were political prisoners. And that's how they marched onto the Bastille, and because they were very determined, eventually even the soldiers who were supposed to protect the Bastille stopped shooting because they didn't want to shoot on their own people, so that's how they took control of the Bastille. But truth is, that's not the anniversary we're celebrating. That's a year later, the 14th of July 1790, was the Day of Federation, which was a day where we celebrate unity after a year of difficult times, and actually it was only the beginning of difficult times. We had a whole century after the French revolutions we went to democracy, republic, then back to empire, then to empire, royalty, republic, empire. I mean, we had monarchy, and for a whole century we were very unstable. But then, you know, when we had this Third Republic Constitution, we decided that what we would celebrate on the 14th of July would be the Day of Federation. That is, the desire of France to get united after difficult times as one country, united, respectfully of all the different cultures, but united and non-divisible.
Ledzokuku, je reviens?
Je reviens.
Yeah.
That's right, je reviens.
You like season 1? You will love season 2. Touch of France, season 2, coming soon.
The show Touch of France began in September last year. Began airing in September last year, and the idea of the show is to get into people's homes with a packaged presentation of what France is and what France does in Ghana, through a conversation with a Ghanaian celebrity that is highly respected and who will share his or her experience of France through her or his Ghanaian eyes. I don't expect them to say France is fantastic. I expect them to give a truthful, realistic vision of France, the way they saw it, the way what they found, what they thought, what they liked, what was a surprise. And I had some amazing guests all along the season, like Sarkodier, Abedi Marcel Desailly, Yvonne Okoro, Anita Erskine, Farida Bedouin, Claudia Lumour from Glitz. A conversation I had with the president. Not because he is the president, well, of course it makes a lot of sense, but because he lived and worked in France.
Okay.
And I wanted to have his insight of what kind of difference does it make, what do you take away from an experience in France, what does it bring you to speak perfect French, does that make a difference, and that's what I wanted to dig into.
Great. Before I let you go, I know you being here from 2018 to 21 is a long time to grasp some. It's a long time to be able to grab some chi. Let's see. What have you learned so far in chi?
Oh gosh. Well, I told you earlier. Braha, come here.
Okay.
When people ask me etisen, I say aye. I've learned oh gosh, a few things, but I can't remember. I'm trying to. Medase. Of course.
Meaning?
Thank you very much.
Great. And then the food, Ghanaian food.
Oh gosh. Yes. Well, actually, I've put on 10 kilos in the first 2 years because of the wonderful Ghanaian food made by my wonderful chef. She is Ghanaian. She cooks perfect. She cooks wonderful French cuisine, but she also does the most amazing Ghanaian dishes, and everything was so good. So when you have kelewele or fried plantain or palava sauce with plantain, that is just to die for. The red, I just love the red.
Yeah.
And well, I'm going to be bashed again because I said I love wache, but I don't mix things all together. So I eat wache with all the bits and pieces separately. It's
how do you? Because it wouldn't taste like it's supposed to.
Yeah, it probably doesn't. But the way it should taste, I'm not sure my palate is ready for that. It's spicy. I mean, you eat things very, very spicy. Your light soup has nothing light at all. It's super spicy, and I understand that people love eating that and sweating like they're giving birth. Is that the way to eat it?
Is it a light soup?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes with fufu.
Yeah.
Have you tasted fufu?
Well, I've tasted one mouthful. I'm still digesting it.
Since the last time you took it?
No, I'm kidding. But honestly, I could have a full meal with just one spoonful of fufu. I mean, I don't know how you manage to eat so much. It's just incredible. It's like you have to swallow it, and then it stucks into your stomach, and it keeps you working until the end of the day.
That is what brings the energy, you know.
Obviously, yeah. But I probably don't spend enough energy to actually be able to do with fufu. But I did try. Yes, I did.
So which of the Ghanaian dishes are your favorite, or is your favorite?
I love palava sauce. I really love that.
With
I really do.
Palava sauce with
with plantain. Actually, normally with boiled plantain, but I'm cheating. I love the fried plantain.
You've not tried palava sauce with yam, have you?
Of course, yes. With yam, I like fried yam. Boiled yam is also a bit heavy. You like heavy things, don't you? You like things that stick to the body and make you.
It's going to stay in the body for long.
It's going to stay in the body for long. Well, you see, in France and women, we like food that just pass by and just go. You see, don't stand on the hips and stay for too long. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It has to feel the stomach and then just go, because we don't want it to stick on.
So French Ghanaian food, which one are you going for?
Oh, I love both.
Rating each out of 10?
Well, it's very different because Ghanaian food, well, of course I love jollof rice, and I can tell your viewers that I do agree that jollof is Ghanaian. I hope I won't be posted in Nigeria.
But of course, Ghanaian jollof tastes better. I mean, it's the best.
I take your word for it. Okay, but I don't want to. You know, the more I'm saying that jollof is Ghanaian and that Ghanaian jollof is better, I sometimes freak out, because if I end up being posted in Nigeria, I can imagine people surrounding the embassy and said, "You said Ghanaian jollof was better."
You are here in Nigeria today.
Say it again. So I will have to find something else. Well, anyway, yes, jollof is just fantastic. A bit spicy sometimes, but if you can negotiate a European spicy, I can deal with it. I love all sorts of. You know, French cuisine is not 100% French. It is made of different influences.
Yeah.
Couscous could be looked upon.
I love couscous.
Yes, it could be looked upon as French, because we have had a lot of immigration from North Africa, and now we've made it ours.
Right.
So pizza is also something that we look upon as French, and is originally Italian.
Yeah, that is one of the foods we mostly have so much fanciful notion about in Ghana. But on the whole, I would say it's been great having you. It's been a wonderful journey with you here. It's fun. How many kids did you have? It came in passing, but I didn't really.
I have 2 plus 1 stepson.
Great, but you always look young on the screens. You do look like.
Yeah, well, no, I don't.
How do you do that?
No, I don't look young at all. I have.
You think so?
No, I don't. I mean, honestly, it's very kind of you. Thanks very much. Very flattering, but I don't fall for that. I don't look young. I think I just look exotic for you, but it's no. I just look my age, and I'm perfectly fine with it.
Good.
I think it's okay. I mean, we all get old up to a point, and there's no issue about that. I mean, then you look experienced.
Sure. So that was it with Anne-Sophie Avishi is the French ambassador to Ghana. It's been a long, nice, intriguing journey with her today at her residence or at her office. My name is Shedrack Odami Ejari. I would want to say, le jouer. You have a way of wishing the Fête Nationale.
Joyeux.
Le 14 juillet.
14 juillet.
Oui. So 14 juillet.
That's it. 14 juillet, 14th of July.
Great. Le 14 juillet.
That's it.
So at least I'm picking some French out of Sophie's office. But till we meet again, probably with another diplomat, I would say a very big thank you for joining us once again. Shedrack Odami Ejari. It's a bye for now.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Bringing you Africa's creme de la creme's classiest hangouts, award shows, end-of-year parties, wedding, graduations, birthdays, fashion or corporate events. Metro Social has got you covered. We present bazaars with je ne sais quoi. Give us a call and we will be there. Whilst at that, join us on Metro Social every Friday at 9:30 p.m. and a repeat on Saturdays and Sundays at 8:30 p.m. on Metro TV.
Nipa pi for how yaw ene amane mu nanso hwan ne kamafo se nipa hia obi obehye wo nkrane obema woni daso na wopepa woni so nanso oboafo enna abraboni nipa bi adi asi ache obi afamo na atom obi akoda fiase wabra onifo yare enti obi abusua pono se nipa benyen pa oye fiefie mu ene asori mu amamanka maseme ya enti hwe Papa Richie, the voice of the voiceless
for Metro TV. Mondays 10 a.m. kosi 10:30 a.m. Repeat Thursdays 10 a.m. kosi 10:30 a.m.
Wo pesa wo bo adwumadie yi ana wo ne enche wasem a 0242 509753 The Graf Johnson Show.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Hello and good to see you again. This is Community Watch on Metro TV with me, Gabriel, Prince Neobodai Atopra, Atunam Togbo Ashon Kwalsonu. And in today's edition, I'm coming your way from Teshie within a neighborhood called Fertilizer or Compost Plant. And I am coming to have a discussion with residents over the absence of a well-constructed bridge, which then terrifies them, particularly pupils who attend a basic school nearby. I am on a temporary bridge that the residents have constructed. So few days or weeks ago, there was a very dilapidated bridge over this stream for which a concerned resident called Albert messaged us, that's the Community Watch team, to come and have a look. Just when we were planning to come over, then the bridge collapsed. collapsed, and they were just fortunate that there wasn't anyone using the bridge at the time. I recall, well, I have the message that Albert sent me at the time. He said, "Good morning, Community Watch Metro TV. I'm Albert Mensah, Estate North Unit Committee member of Ledzokuku. Please, my community will be very happy to have you." And then he shared pictures of pupils using the bridge. Well, you are seeing some of the pictures now. He followed up a number of times, and today we are here. Even look at the makeshift one they have made for the community. Just have a look at it. And then when you step on it, look at the way it is, with several pupils, over 500 of them having to then use this makeshift bridge regularly. On today's edition of Community Watch, I will be engaging the residents and as well the Municipal Chief Executive, that's Honorable Na Ajili, so we know exactly what her outfit is also doing about the situation. Continue watching. This is Community Watch with me, Gabriel, Prince Niobudai, Atopra, Atunam Togbo, Ashon, Kwalso.
My friend, don't you know it? People about you know, let you know, like a home.
I noticed that you were lamenting when crossing the bridge with your family. Share this lamentation or concerns with us.
Okay, my brother, it's so bad. We have a lot of kids in the neighborhood, and we have a lot of women. They used to pass on the bridge to work, and we the men too, we used to pass on it. It's so bad. What the nation are doing for us. What the nation are doing for us, especially the children. If in the rain falls and they carry about 10 people and they died, they will buy this thing, then they will go and bury them. Is it good? Is it good? So what I'm telling the government should do right now is, brother, you are good, so good. You should do something.
Right. Thank you very much, sir. So You've seen him, heard him sharing his concerns with you. This is how we start this edition proper. We have many of the concerned residents here that we are coming to engage, but Albert is joining me. He invited the Community Watch team. We'll hear from him, then we hear a few more of the residents to also share their concerns. So the man is still concerned, having to raise his child. Albert, join us now so we hear from you. You are a unit committee member.
Yes, please.
What exactly is the situation? How has it been?
The situation here is so bad. Over the period of 5 years ago, there was a bridge here constructed by the community members around. And last 2 weeks I was watching Metro TV, and then I watched a Community Watch.
So see an old woman who has just been brought in. It's also a major concern for her. So we'll speak to Albert. From Albert, we'll engage her and as well the other residents. Please continue. You said this situation has persisted for about 5 years. Continue.
Yes. So I was watching Metro TV and I came across a Community Watch program. So I quickly picked the number to send a few pictures to the Metro TV team. So before today, the MC has been here once, the Honorable Member of Parliament has been here, and since then, no concern is coming again. And this bridge over here leads to the government school just a few meters from here. And a lot of the children come from the other community to the school. So my concern is, we'll be happy if the assembly and then the concerned people can come on board and help us fix something better here.
Albert, the Municipal Chief Executive is watching you and we'll be engaging him before the show ends. there was one thing you left out. That the time you messaged me, there was a bridge here, which was deplorable, which was in a bad state. What happened?
The rain that fell 2 weeks ago on Saturday washed the bridge away. And lucky that there was no one on the bridge that day. I was home and there was no one. So I took pictures of the broken bridge and sent back to Metro TV Community Watch.
Okay, we have the leftover of that bridge right there, which you are seeing now. Let me go to our elderly woman. Ma, I noticed that they were carrying you. Men worry. Chigan, Hausa, Kotonkoli, please feel free and express yourself.
Let me carry Betty.
Hey, Betty,
Hey, Anya Kwashira, Vero Tome Amiela. Chero Yubo, Adana Mafia Goji, Yacha Gada Jamuha. Nyatafa Chavacha, Guanta Agban, Pagara Wama, Yadom, Shia, Manya, for Padoma Chachimi. Your folk bow, Nyawo, Nita Panamanam, Mali Dobo Boys in Yokata Molio, Yaraka Soda, Afayama. Yo vacuum, Ovacom, Pacman of Yaraka. Yo, Bang, or Chochia, Albachama Maroshi, you come of Kodana, I suppose. Yamango, Mianya, Mushia, Sarah Bashia, or Commander, or another Karako. Young Wakataka, Fokata, Yamu, Yokata, Yamuna Share. I don't want to touch me. The fuck back, you go changing it. Fuck back a chair. I couldn't fuck back when I walk at a dream. Yama Grandma, we have your brother, but I out. And get quick fuck behind. And get a Wuhan, no Joe. Young with a shadow to you. Fuck back, don't matter.
The elderly woman is being very emotional. I am sure she has also shared a connected issue. Who is able to translate what she said in English for us?
What our mother just said as a concern that as a result of the 2 or 3 weeks ago, the rain, it causes a tremendous flood which affected her home. Her whole home was totally flooded. It took Albert, the community member, to come to her rescue. He and his brother were the one who rescued her out of the house. In natural fact, when he was even talking about losing almost everything, property of hers, clothing, etc., Albert said her life was more important than those material things. Yeah, that's a concern that because of this drain very close to her place, rain after rain, year after year, because the drain has not been reconstructed, neither there is a proper bridge on it, it keeps on getting wider and wider. Anytime it rains during the rainy season, the drain is becoming wider and wider. So he's pleading to the government in power that they should please help construct this bridge, construct the drain, so that the flood that have been coming to her place will come to an end. That's their concern.
See the house, see what the station you're in now. See me. Everywhere is flooded. See. In our rooms, everywhere. We are about to be climbing upstairs. But the walls are broken like everywhere. It's flooded. Oh Jesus. Hey, hey, stop crying. Don't cry. Okay, we'll be fine, eh? Where is she? No, your daddy came for her. I let her papa work with her. But your daddy is taking care of her.
Beyond the bridge being constructed, we also look at how best we can construct a storm drain for the people.
I grew up in this community. Let me elaborate further so that you will get to understand, the general public will get to understand what actually the situation that we are facing here. The problem is that this is a stream. It had its source from the mountains, and secondly, we are in a low-lying area. Now the water is being rushing from the top to this side. So what it means is that whenever it rains, the volume of water that flows here is very heavy, such that if you are not very careful, you will be a victim. And secondly, it's also sad that we are having the district assembly not far from this community. It's just a few meters from here. But the failure of successive government to tackle this issue head on is what baffles me. Because if you look around, this community is being surrounded by a lot of schools within the area. Lack of proper, bridge for the area is hampering, activity of school kids having to cross from the other side to the other side. Recently, we having the community, the district assembly call for, community engagement. And we went in and working with NADMO, I appreciate what exactly that is going on here. So I told them, like, look, if you move a bit far away from, you see, we used to have a culvert that was done by the community members. But because of the level of water that flows here, it can't contain it. So the recent flood that came in such a manner that a lot of people had their belongings being destroyed, carried away, and other things. But how long can we continue with such a situation when we have the district assembly living on our land here? And we all know that development comes from the district assembly. And therefore this morning, I'm calling on the powers that be that they shouldn't wait till we have to carry dead body from our neighborhood before they start rushing, because the situation at hand calls for immediate attention. Therefore, it is now, because of the situation, it is difficult for the community people to cross, those who have their school kids to even get to school. You can imagine us being here. All of us here are paying our taxes. People are paying their property rates. Every now and then we have the district assembly coming for their property rates and what. We want to find out from the authority that is, what are they using our money for? Because this community is one of the oldest communities. Because of lack of development, the place looks as if it's a swamp area, but it is never so. Lack of development. So we are calling on authorities that be, that they shouldn't wait till we have a situation that we cannot contend with. And I also want to thank the Metro team for the good work that they are doing for Mother Ghana. God richly bless them. As you can see, the community is very pleased to have them around, and together we build a better Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you. To your name, sir.
My name is Francis Edem Havon.
Okay, Francis Edem, thanks very much for speaking to us. Anyone else here wishing to add a voice?
I could even remember a very young child around somewhere 5 years old was drowned from a very far place and was brought to my area. It isn't that child, but people do drown, and we are expecting the government to come and do something positive for us. Other than that, other disastrous actions can still continue. So we are really pleading that the government should come to our aid as early as possible. Thank you.
Your name, please?
I'm Emmanuel Ahetu.
Okay, Emmanuel Ahetu, thanks very much for sharing your...
Kanu ngo ne yo kanu eni ne sipo fio pe ka gbeke bi wo aba ajo agasio sipo ni alo emie ko abotemi aba gboi wo yue wo ka fonu pa hin first mo fia mo ni baba wo ba kele o e ba na ba fe gbe ha wo e ba fe gata ha wo e ba fe ne ka wo fe ni ne wo vote wo ha me pe eta insane ba nu ngo e hwafi ofio keke ben mana agbele nu awom ye yi obonu ngo postati ko e ngbe mi ntokota laaje ekokota te nyama nyi esani ma ni ma kontokota ka ngama nyi esani nu ngo be ma gbe na yan short.
So thank you very much for sharing your concern with us. So the last two persons were calling on the government, like the others have said, and that not only that they want a footbridge, but also a bridge that could make vehicles pass on, and then a storm drain would help alleviate their plight and to prevent the worst from happening, that is a disaster from striking. The program is not yet over. We are having Albert joining us now. Albert, join us. So what has the Municipal Chief Executive done about it? Have you informed the Assembly officially, and what happened?
We have informed the Assembly officially, and then the MC was here last 2 weeks with the road engineer saying they'll come back. We'll hear from them. And my fear and our fear now is the children crossing. When are they coming? They always keep on promising, we will hear from us, we'll be coming, and they are not coming. I could remember the former assemblyman, Honorable Chosa, has written letter, about 50 copies of letters to the assembly, and nothing has been done. So now that the assembly has been changed, the new lady who is now in place, Honorable Linda Dad, and she is not even doing anything at all. She will tell you it's in the pipeline, and nothing is showing. The MC has been here. The Honorable Member of Parliament was here yesterday, Sunday, after church. He came to check on it, and nothing is still going on.
So from here, you know, with Community Watch, we do not just hear from a side, but we do our best to involve all stakeholders. So from here, we are visiting the assembly to meet up with the municipal chief executive, Honorable Na Ajele. We've engaged her before coming here, and she's given us her word that she'll be meeting us and then share what she's also doing about the situation with us. She's briefed us off camera, but it's about time we hear from her on camera so you have a better appreciation of the situation. And we are hoping that with her and the residents, we'll be able to provide this community with a footbridge, a bridge that could make cars pass, and as well a storm drain. Continue watching Community Watch here on Metro TV. Thanks for staying on. This is Community Watch here on Metro TV with me, Gabriel, Prince Niobodaya Topra, Atunam Togbo, Ashon Kwalsonu. And like I mentioned to you earlier, we had left the grounds to meet the municipal chief executive. And fortunately, she's granted us audience. She's Honorable Evelyn Najili Chum Jamra. Honorable, thanks for the time and welcome to Metro TV's Community Watch.
Thank you.
We just came from the community and residents have lamented over the state of their bridge, the fact that it's been carried away. What is the assembly doing about this?
Thank you. Yes, I was informed about a damaged footbridge at Dar es Salaam. So I went there with my roads engineer to assess the extent of damage. So when we went there, I met the unit committee member who told me they had wanted to repair the bridge, but we asked them to hold on so that we contact a professional contractor to come and have it done. So we contacted, there's another contractor working on culverts around the same area. So we contacted him to do that footbridge for the residents over there. Meanwhile, he has done a footbridge at where he's working at the moment. But it seems as if he would like to finish that one before moving to the Dar es Salaam.
You want to finish the culvert first or the other bridge?
He wants to finish working at where he is, the culvert. So I discussed it with my roads engineer to get somebody else, which he told me he has now gotten somebody. So he has started with the process, the paperwork, to for us to award the contract to somebody else to do the construct the footbridge. So at the moment we are working on it, and I hope it won't take long. The footbridge is very urgent, so the roads engineer knows how urgent it's. We have to do the footbridge, so he's working on it. And this morning, even I have talked to him, and he has assured me that it must be started maybe this week, by the end of this week. We have to they have to start working on the footbridge.
Permanent one?
No, it's a temporary one. It's a temporary one because of the way school children and the residents they pass through the drain. It's not advisable. So for the meantime, we have to do a temporary one for them to organize ourselves and then have a permanent one done.
But what's the thought about a permanent one?
We are relying on the contractor working on the culvert. So we hope by then he has finished with the culvert because they promise they will soon finish to do the permanent footbridge for Dar es Salaam residents.
Thank you very much. We had noticed the makeshift footbridge that has been constructed not far from where the construction work is ongoing, but it's such that maybe when major rain falls, that makeshift may go. And I'm wondering if that's the same kind of footbridge that will be provided for the people of Dar es Salaam.
No.
Then it may not last.
No, that one too is a temporary footbridge. Yes, so we'll have to do, that place, they don't have footbridge. They use the culvert. There's no footbridge there. But since they are working on the culvert, that's why they provided the temporary one. So for the meantime, temporary one will be provided at Dar es Salaam, and then they will go and do permanent one. Yes. I'm sure after they are done with the culvert.
Honorable, thanks very much. It is succinct, clear, and we are glad we've got this. We shall be here in no time, I'm sure in a week or two or in few weeks, so we witness the makeshift bridge that Honorable is providing so that in due course we see the permanent one. Thanks for being on Community Watch on Metro TV with me, Gabriel Ni Ubodai Togbo Ashon. Make time with me same time next week. Bye-bye.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Channel 270 in